Here is something that should not be possible. Your heart has stopped. No pulse, no blood pressure, no oxygen moving through your veins. By every clinical definition, you are dead. And yet deep inside your skull, your brain is still firing, still thinking, still in some sense we don't fully understand, still you. How is that possible? And what exactly is happening inside your mind in those final moments? For most of human history, we assumed the answer was simple. Heart stops, brain stops, lights out. Death was a single moment, a hard line. But modern science has pulled back the curtain, and what's underneath is one of the most unsettling, awe-inspiring discoveries in the history of medicine. Because it turns out that death is not a moment at all, it's a process. And your brain fights that process harder than anything else in your body. Let's start with some biology, because it sets up everything. Your brain is the most energy-hungry organ you have. It accounts for roughly 2% of your body weight, but it burns about 20% of all your body's oxygen supply. Every second you're alive, your neurons are devouring glucose and oxygen at a staggering rate. So when blood stops flowing, when the heart stops pumping, the brain should crash almost instantly. And in one sense it does, but in another sense, something extraordinary happens first. Think of your brain like a city. When the power grid fails, not every light goes out at the same instant. Some neighborhoods lose power first. Others run on backup generators for a few extra minutes. Your brain does something similar. Different regions go dark at different speeds. The parts handling muscle control and basic sensation, those fade quickly. But the deeper, older parts of your brain, the ones that regulate consciousness itself, they linger. They resist. And for reasons scientists are still debating, some of them may actually surge. In 2013, researchers at the University of Michigan made a discovery that genuinely shocked the neuroscience world. They were studying dying rats whose hearts had just been stopped, and they expected to see brain activity flatline almost immediately. Instead, they saw the opposite. Within 30 seconds of cardiac arrest, the rats' brains erupted with a surge of electrical activity. Gamma waves, the same high-frequency brain waves associated with conscious awareness and perception in humans, spiked to levels even higher than the animals showed when fully awake. The dying brain wasn't shutting down quietly, it was lighting up. Now, you might wonder, does that happen in humans too? That's exactly what a landmark 2023 study set out to find. Researchers at the University of Michigan, again, this time with human patients, analyzed EEG recordings from people who experienced cardiac arrest and died during brain monitoring. In 2 of the 4 patients who had intact recordings, they observed a surge in gamma wave activity at the moment of cardiac arrest, the same signature, a hidden storm of electrical firing, right at the threshold between life and death. So the question becomes, what is that surge? Is it just random electrical noise, neurons misfiring as they lose oxygen, like a machine sparking before it dies? Or is it something more organized, something that might actually produce an experience? This is where the science gets genuinely difficult to untangle, because it sits right at the intersection of neuroscience, consciousness studies, and something most scientists are uncomfortable talking about. Near-death experiences, NDEs, have been reported across every culture, every era, every continent. People describe a tunnel of light, a feeling of profound peace, encountering deceased relatives, watching their own resuscitation from above. For decades, mainstream science dismissed these accounts. Hallucinations, oxygen deprivation, a brain misfiring. But here's the uncomfortable part. Some of the details people report are verifiable. Patients describe conversations that happened in the room while they were clinically unconscious. They describe objects placed on high shelves that they couldn't have seen with their eyes. The brain as noise explanation starts to feel a little thin. The most rigorous large-scale study of near-death experiences is called AWARE, Awareness During Resuscitation, led by Dr. Sam Parnia at NYU Langone. Over years of research, his team interviewed hundreds of survivors of cardiac arrest. What they found was striking. A significant portion of patients reported lucid, organized experiences during the period when their hearts had stopped, and their brains showed no measurable activity on standard monitors. and a small number reported accurate, verifiable perceptions from outside their own bodies. The data didn't prove anything supernatural, but it did prove that something organized was happening, even when the textbook said nothing should be. Let's come back to the biology, because the neuroscience alone is extraordinary enough. When oxygen drops in the brain, neurons don't simply turn off. They undergo a process. First, the cortex, your thinking, reasoning, language brain, starts to lose its normal suppression over deeper structures. That suppression is like a filter, and when the filter drops, older, deeper parts of the brain, the limbic system, the structures tied to emotion and memory and raw perception, can become paradoxically more active, not less. It's as if the conscious mind gets quieter and something underneath gets louder. Think of it like this. Normally, your prefrontal cortex is the conductor. It organizes and dampens the orchestra below it. When it loses power, the orchestra doesn't fall silent immediately. The deeper instruments keep playing. Some of them play louder than they ever did when the conductor was waving the baton. What the brain produces in those moments, whether it's noise or music, is one of the deepest, open questions in all of science. There's another layer to this that most people never hear about, the role of neurotransmitters. In the moments after the heart stops, the brain releases a cascade of chemicals. Glutamate floods the synapses. The nervous system essentially dumps its entire chemical arsenal, trying to maintain function. Some researchers believe this chemical storm is partly responsible for the intense, vivid, emotionally overwhelming quality of near-death experiences. Your brain, in its final act, may produce some of the most intense neurochemical states you have ever experienced. And here's where it gets even stranger. Dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a naturally occurring compound found in the human brain, has been proposed by some researchers as part of this chemical cascade. DMT, when administered, produces experiences strikingly similar to near-death reports. Tunnels of light, presence of other beings, a sense of profound meaning. The hypothesis is controversial, and direct evidence in humans is limited. But trace amounts of DMT have been detected in the pineal gland of mammals, and its potential role at the moment of death remains an open, actively debated scientific question. Now here is the twist that reframes everything we've discussed. Because throughout this entire conversation, we've been assuming that what the dying brain experiences is essentially a hallucination, a story the brain tells itself as it shuts down. But there's a philosophical problem with that framing. We have no agreed-upon scientific theory of how any conscious experience arises from brain activity. Not in a healthy awake person, not ever. We don't actually know why the brain produces experience at all. So calling a dying brain's activity a hallucination implies we know what real experience is, and we don't. This is the hard problem of consciousness, and it haunts every corner of this conversation. Neuroscientist Christoph Koch and philosopher David Chalmers have each argued, in different ways, that we are profoundly in the dark about why physical brain activity gives rise to subjective experience. If we can't explain why you experience the color red, we are in no position to confidently declare that a dying brain cannot have organized, meaningful experiences. The materialist assumption that it's obviously just noise is an assumption, not a conclusion. Which brings us to one of the most important and least discussed aspects of this whole story: the timeline. Clinical death, defined as the moment the heart stops, is not the same as biological death, which is when cells and tissues are irreversibly destroyed. In the modern era of resuscitation medicine, people have been brought back from cardiac arrest after 30, 40 minutes, in some cold water drowning cases even longer. The brain that was supposedly dead was not truly, finally dead. It was somewhere in between, and in that in-between space, it was doing something. Dr. Sam Parnia describes this liminal zone as the period of lucid dying. His research suggests that after the heart stops, a window exists, perhaps up to an hour under optimal conditions, during which the brain retains some organized activity. He argues that modern medicine has been drawing the line of death in the wrong place, that we have been treating as dead people who were neurologically still in process, and that some of the experiences reported during resuscitation weren't hallucinations after the fact. They were happening in real time, in the gap. What does this mean for how we define death? That question isn't just philosophical. It's medical, legal, and deeply personal. Organ donation protocols, resuscitation cutoff times, the moment a physician calls it. All of these are built on the assumption that death is a clear threshold. But the science suggests it's more like a corridor, and we are only beginning to map what happens inside it. Here's something few people talk about. The accounts of people who have been revived after cardiac arrest are remarkably consistent in their emotional tone. Not terrifying, not chaotic. The overwhelming majority describe the experience as profoundly peaceful, even beautiful. Some describe it as the most real, most vivid thing they've ever experienced, more real than ordinary waking life. That consistency across cultures, ages, and belief systems is scientifically unusual. Random hallucinations don't produce consistent, cross-cultural testimony. Consider what this might mean for how we think about our lives. Across thousands of near-death accounts, certain themes emerge again and again. A life review where you experience your own memories from the perspective of everyone you affected. A collapse of ordinary time, and a deepened sense that connection and love are more fundamental than anything else you spent your waking life worrying about. Researchers like Bruce Grayson at the University of Virginia have spent decades cataloging these accounts, and the consistency is striking. Whatever the mechanism, neurological, philosophical, or something we don't have words for yet, the message seems to be the same. And here's the thing that should probably make all of us sit with this for a moment. We spend enormous energy being afraid of death, or avoiding thinking about it entirely. But the people who have actually been there, who have stood at that threshold and come back, almost universally report that the fear dissolved, not because death was nothing, but because whatever they encountered on the other side of the heartbeat was not what they feared. That shift changes people. Profoundly, measurably, permanently. Science still hasn't closed the loop here, and it's honest enough to say so. We know the dying brain produces electrical surges. We know it releases neurochemicals in quantities never seen in normal waking states. We know that organized, verifiable conscious experience has been reported during clinical death. We know that some of those reports are consistent with measurable events in the room. What we don't know, and may not know for a long time, is whether any of that experience is, in some sense, real, beyond the brain that's generating it. What we do know is this. The boundary between life and death is not where we thought it was. The brain does not go quietly. It surges, it fires, it produces something, whether noise or experience or something we don't have a category for yet. And every person who has ever lived has, at the end, passed through that corridor. Most of them have not come back to describe it. But the ones who have are telling us something worth listening to, even if we don't yet have the science to fully understand what they heard. So the next time someone tells you that death is simply the end, that the lights go out and that's it, you can tell them it's more complicated than that. The brain, that 3-pound universe inside your skull, does not simply stop when the heart does. It keeps reaching, it keeps firing, it keeps doing something that we, with all our tools and theories, still cannot fully explain. And maybe that's the most human thing about it. Even at the very end, the mind keeps asking questions. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Every scientific advance in resuscitation medicine, every patient brought back from longer and deeper cardiac arrests, gives us another data point from that corridor between life and death. And every data point suggests that the story is bigger, stranger, and more astonishing than the textbooks have told us. We are at the very beginning of understanding what happens in that space, which means the most important discoveries haven't been made yet. So ask yourself this: if your brain keeps running after your heart stops, what else have we gotten wrong about where the mind ends?